Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be how to have effortless relationships. Well, this particular email is from a viewer. When you see as I go through this email, the woman that he's dating, she had an alcoholic mother, she had an abusive father. I guess the mother had to basically escape the physical abuse of the father when she was young, so it doesn't look like dad was involved. So she came from a broken home, and it statistically you would think everything is stacked, the deck is stacked against her. Plus she's got a kid from another relationship, and he admits in previous relationships he's kind of cheated, and his mom just passed away about a month ago, and his mother knew the girl that he's dating and said she's a really good woman, good person. And everybody that knows her, because he went to high school with this girl, everybody that knows her has nothing but good things to say about her. So he's been kind of casually dating, but obviously he's been following my work, and he's concerned about her background and worries that having an effortless relationship with somebody like that and that kind of background is just statistically is not in their favor. The chances of it working out and them having an effortless relationship, because he's kind of like, you can see he's got a little bit of Captain Save-A-Ho in him. He wants to take care of her. He wants to help her, that kind of thing. And so they're exclusive now. They've been dating about, I think he said about 10 weeks, 10, 11 weeks. So it's about 2.5 months or so that they've been dating. And it's just a good email that, because you got to vet the people, the character. Character is destiny. So, and that's not just the women that you're going to date. It's the friends you're going to have. It's people you potentially go into business with. Maybe if you're raising money, investors that invest in your business. Character is important. And you got to vet people on a case-by-case basis. Now, statistically, somebody with her background, the chances of being able to have an easy and effortless relationship with her, they're not good. But there are people that go through traumatic things and they say, you know what, because of what I went through, I'm going to be a better person. I'm not going to be like my parents. I don't want to raise my kids or have a family in that kind of environment that I grew up from, and I'm going to do the work of myself. I'm going to do self-help, self-improvement. People will go to therapy and things of that nature to work through their issues so they can be a good teammate and a good partner for somebody. As Jim Rohn said, I'll take care of me for you, and you take care of you for me. The reality is most people won't do that. But the ones that are willing to do that, then based on their actions and how they treat us, mean if they treat us right, then we can give them the benefit of the doubt. But again, you got to look at what they do, not what they say. So let's go through his email. He says, "Hi, Coach. I've been following your work for a few years, and I have heard you say quite a number of times that it's important that the girl you are with comes from a stable family upbringing and has a solid father figure in their lives." And he has a question mark with that. Ideally, girls that love their fathers, that have a really good relationship with their dad, they admire their dad, they respect their dad, they look up to their dad. He's kind of their rock, their mountain. He provided a very masculine, very stable environment. He didn't tolerate bullshit. He put her in her place when she got out of line. He instilled her with a sense of values and a sense of goals and self-respect, taught her to be self-reliant, and to basically be a good human being with a sense of code of honor. And statistically, most guys just don't do that. And so if you want to have a long-term, healthy, monogamous relationship, it's important that you understand and learn what kind of environment the woman that you want to date or potentially be in a relationship with that she came from, because whatever is modeled at home is what they're going to tend to emulate. Now, it doesn't mean that it's set in stone and people can't grow beyond that and become better people. I mean, when you look at the world's billionaires, most of them are first generation. They were all self-made, and they usually grew up in very traumatic environments, often were poor, and it instilled something in themselves to where they wanted to grow beyond that. They didn't ever want to have to suffer not having money or being broke. What's his name? Kevin O'Leary, I think, Mr. Wonderful. He says he's got an account because he's like, his assertion is you only need about 5 million in assets, and paying 6% a year, you're over 300 grand a year. So he's got an account with 5 million into it. I think he says it's in treasuries, so he just earns his interest. And if something was to happen and he lost all his wealth, at least he would have. I mean, he doesn't need to, but he sets this money aside in case he lost everything. At least he'd be able to survive and live and put a roof over his head and make enough money to where he wouldn't have to struggle. And so it's like an insurance policy, and that's the kind of thing that reveals, like all high achievers, we're driven by fear. Fear of being mediocre, fear of not reaching our full potential, fear of being poor, fear of not having love, whatever happens to be. We're driven with a lot of pain to move away from the bad environment that we grew up in, or the chaos, or whatever it happened to be. And so it's important to understand it's what matters is the meanings that we give to the circumstances of our lives. And people that typically come from broken homes, more often than not, are going to repeat that. When you look at who's in prison, 80% of the dudes I think they're in prison all come from broken homes where there's no dad or raised by a single mom. And so you need both parents. You need a strong, stable, masculine influence. Even if it's not the dad, it could be an uncle or a grandfather or a stepdad that provides that role and instills that good set of values. And if they're not taught that, it's like, where are you? They're not going to, women are not going to, through osmosis, absorb it through the air or the TV or the internet. If somebody's not instilling it in them and holding them accountable, and then they grow up, they're typically just going to repeat the patterns of their childhood, unless they make a conscious effort and a conscious decision that no matter what happens in life, they're not going to be like their family. They're going to be so much more, so much better. And they're going to do the little things that are necessary to enable them to have success. Right, Momo? So, back to his email. He says, the girl I have recently got into a relationship with had a hard upbringing, was seeing abuse from her dad hurting her mother and her siblings, and also verbally she got abused by her father herself. The father left them, and her mom, I assume he's from probably the UK, Australia, New Zealand maybe. The father left them, or her mom had to seek women's refuge to get away from the father. So there was a very dysfunctional upbringing, maybe fear and scars from her past and dating the wrong men and her relationship choices. Well, if she wanted love from her father but didn't get it and got abused, she's just naturally going to be attracted to guys that she can play that out with. And you'll see when she talks about the fact that she's been dicked over in other relationships, it's because what was modeled for her, that's her strategy. That's her attraction strategy. That's how she goes, and she's most attracted to the kind of guys that are probably going to provide a similar type of relationship to the father. So you can tell she's kind of gun shy, maybe a little jaded after what's happened to her. The girl I'm with actually went to high school with her, and from what I saw and knew, she always was very caring and kind towards everyone. And in fact, everyone has a good word to say about her that knows her and says to me that I have chosen well. She desires a man who can give her stability, love, and care. Well, I mean, quite frankly, that's called the minimum level of competence that a man is supposed to be able to do anyways. But unfortunately, most people major in minor things, so those kind of guys are rare as well. She has stated that I have been an absolute gentleman and actually cried when I took her out for her 30th birthday because she was afraid that she wouldn't find another man like me who treats her so well. In her words, I'm afraid that it will go pear-shaped like all the other relationships. You treat me so well, and I am afraid to catch more feelings for you as I don't want to get hurt again and fucked over again, as I can't deal with that if it happens to me again. I haven't met anyone like you who cares for me and treats me so well, and I'm afraid of losing you or for it to be too good to be true. So it's understandable that she would feel that way. She obviously has some abandonment or fear, natural fear of abandonment. I mean, who wouldn't if you grew up in an environment like she did? So she's gonna, if she's dating a guy that's chaotic and unemotionally unavailable or not there, that's gonna feel normal to her, whether she realizes it or not. That's when I reassured her that I wasn't going anywhere and that I'm not in this to hurt anyone. I just want to take things slowly, which is the right approach, and to get to know her piece by piece before I jump into a relationship, as she brought up us being together a few times. 10 weeks in now, and I recently just asked her to be exclusive, as she brought it up in a PG way that how she isn't anyone's girl because I haven't asked. That's when I said, do you want to be solely mine and exclusive with me? And she smiled and said, maybe. And then, yes, LOL, he says. She has a 2-year-old son and is a single parent with not much help, as her mom is an alcoholic and minds the wee one when she works in the evening and calls her to get home in the middle of her shift, making excuses that the child isn't asleep or isn't well, and that she needs to get home now a lot of the time, that she minds him. So mom's a little bit of a drama queen. Basically, she gets too drunk and doesn't want to deal with her grandson. She's like, come get your kid! He's wearing me out. I'm about to pass out. When she arrives home in stress and disorder, she finds alcohol bottles empty and can't be bothered attitude, and a can't be bothered attitude. And eventually everything is okay with the child in bed sleeping. Right, Lila? Making chaos for the sake of it and causing unnecessary drama for my girlfriend of recent. Well, again, that's what's modeled, Mom doesn't have her shit together. She drinks the blues away. The child's father doesn't drive and doesn't take much to do with the wee one, and my girl travels hours with the child on the weekly if the lazy so-called father could be bothered to seeing his own child. Well, it's not your responsibility to ensure the kid's dad wants to spend time with his own kid, because if he doesn't, well, that's on him. It's not your job to fix that guy or be Captain Save-A-Ho and step in there and just solve the family's problems. Because you gotta, it's nice that your mom said nice things about this girl and all your friends said nice things about her and everybody else that knows her. But at the end of the day, they know her in a different way. You know her intimately because you're the one in a relationship with her. So you need to vet her based upon her character and her actions, not what other people say. You can't just take what other people say to the bank and just assume that's the way it is. Because, again, you have a different type of relationship with her than the people that are friends and acquaintances, and even your own mother. So her stress in life is a lot, and I only see the good in her and how good of a person she is. I'm not a dumb fuck, as I have been in a solid, well-to-do 3 long-term relationships before with women who have all had solid father figures in their lives and were in good careers, such as a podiatrist, I think that's a foot doctor, a high-up school teacher, and a girl who was training in her PhD to become a teacher. The girl I am in a relationship with now is a professional performer, actor, and singer, being given jobs all around the country and abroad at bars, clubs, and hotels, and professional high-end events for business people and parties. So late nights are always on the agenda. Well, that's something that you got to consider. Do you really want to date a woman that's going to be traveling, going around the country, going around the world, staying in hotels? And especially if you got a normal job, it's not like you're going to be able to travel with her. That's something you got to consider long term. Is that what you really want for your teammate? Somebody that's always on the road and gone. Because again, if somebody's always on the road and gone, things happen. Affairs happen on the road. So you got to consider, is that something that you want to deal with? Do you want to be sleeping in bed at night? Maybe if you guys have kids together as well, and then you're wondering what she's doing, who she's with, where she's at. So again, that's something that you need to look at. You need to consider that. And then when she is gone, what is she doing? Who's she spending her time with? Is she going and hanging out one-on-one with guys that are single or guys that are part of the crew or other singers that she meets? It's, you're looking for actions that reveal she has good character and makes good decisions and has good judgment. Because typically women that grow up without the father, they don't trust men, they don't know which men to trust, and they usually, more often than not, will invite lots of attention from other guys just because dad was never there. And so they like it when men are interested in them. Even when they're supposedly just friends, they like the attention. Getting to spend time with her usually entails calling over late at night once she finishes work or when she isn't working. I call over when the wee one is in bed, as she doesn't want me to meet him until she is sure that I am the one, committed and serious, which I find respectable. Well, dude, you agreed to be in an exclusive relationship with her and you haven't met the kid yet. So you committed to her, but the child is still not a part of your life. And that's something you want to see. Is he well behaved? Was he taught properly? Or is he like, what's his name? Damien in the Onion Field or something like that? Or Children of the Corn. You ever saw that Stephen King? I think it was a Stephen King horror movie from the 80s. Children of the Corn. Is her kid one of the children of the corn? So these are things you got to know. So you're giving her a commitment, and it's like you're kind of sneaking in for a booty call. Do you guys even go out on dates? And the fact that you're calling her, I mean, part of the thing is, after I haven't read this, I wonder if this guy's actually even read the book or he's just trying to cherry pick in videos. You're not going to be successful long term unless you read and learn the book. Because if you haven't read the book and the only time you see her is when you call her to find out if she's put her kid to bed, and then you go over for a booty call, basically, it doesn't really sound like you have a girlfriend. It sounds more like you have an actual booty call that you're exclusive with. Because if you're following what's in the book, she should be doing 95% of the calling, texting, pursuing, and reaching out to you. But it kind of seems like you're doing most of the pursuing, and if she's available, she'll hang out with you and sneak you in, but you got to be up before her 2-year-old gets up in the morning. So that's not what I would really call a real relationship. Again, I wrote about this, and I speak from experience dating women that have kids. It's like they're part of the family, and they go everywhere with you. And if you've been dating a woman for almost 3 months, and now you've agreed to be exclusive, but you haven't met the kid yet, and you're sneaking into her house and then leaving in the morning and not actually going out on dates, well, then that's just a booty call. That's not an actual relationship. And plus, if she's on the road a lot, it's like, it's just, when she's in town, you got a booty call. When she's traveling and working or whatever, what are you going to do with yourself then? So you've locked yourself up personally to a woman who, from your email, it seems like she's largely unavailable. And it just doesn't seem like you really know or understand the book or have actually read it. So you got to take this seriously. You got to read this 10 to 15 times so you know what the hell you're doing. She works plus is a full-time mom who inspires me to do better and to step up as a man for her. Well, again, she's keeping you at arm's length. And if you're just sneaking in at night and that's the only time you see her, then you're a booty call. You're not really her boyfriend. You agreed to be sexually exclusive, but it's not a real relationship because her kid doesn't know you and you don't know her family. She doesn't know yours, that kind of. Well, I guess your mom knows her. And so everybody knows her, but you don't really know her. You don't know her life. So that's kind of concerning. That tells me that you're not really aware of interest and you're focused more on your interest in her and how much you like her. And you're really unable to tell how much she's actually interested in you. I know and realize the job and life ahead won't be easy for me with everything she has going on, but as a man, I also know what it's like to be an only child with my own belated mother, having had me at 17 years old as a single mom, went over and beyond for me with little to her own name. She put me first, even at 32, still put me first and treated me like I was still her baby boy. My own mom, who lately, just over a month ago, died at 49 years old suddenly, with so much love to give and loved child-minding and had a heart for the poor and unfortunate. My mom would give her last penny and bite out of her mouth to feed and clothe someone, which she did, and it had long-lasting positive effects on me and many others by actually having the biggest ever church funeral, had 260 people attending, showing their love and support for my mom, myself, and my family. Well, that's pretty nice. Sounds like your mom was an awesome person. So good on you for having a good mother. But at the end of the day, just that whole long diatribe that you just went on tells me that you got a little bit of the Captain Save-A-Ho, I'm going to fix her, I'm going to save her, I'm going to sweep in and rescue her from her life and her shitty baby daddy who doesn't do anything. but yet you don't know the kid, and you're exclusive, and you're only sneaking in at night when it's available. So it sounds like you're doing most of the pursuing. If she's available, she lets you come over, but after the sex, she kicks you out. I mean, again, that's just from what you wrote. That's what it sounds like is going on here. Anyways, my mom stated 2 weeks before she died that, son, don't let it put you off that your girl-to-be has a child as I had you at 17 and went and was just to sit on the shelf and not find happiness. That kind of doesn't make sense, but probably Australian or UK talk. My mom knew of the girl I am just recently with now and had only great things to say about her. My mom met her many times when she was in a relationship with one of my childhood friends years ago. So one of his buddies, I guess, dated her at some point. And so his mom got to know her. So they passed each other a few times with my mom only having positive and good things to say about her. Well, just because she met her a handful of times doesn't mean that your mom had the time to really assess her character. Can you give me some advice, Coach, on your thoughts on my just new relationship and how I can be the best man for her and to ultimately make my mom proud of the son she raised, as she taught me to always respect women, not use women like my father did, who cheated with every woman he got with, including my mom. Have you tried reading the book, dude? You got to read this, because you're saying, hey, Coach, what do? I can't teach you a 250-page book in a 20-minute video. You got to participate in your own rescue. You got to take the time to fill in your knowledge gap. You're not going to be able to successfully learn the book if you're just cherry-picking videos. The videos are based on the assumption that you've read the baseline fundamentals in the book, and the videos are real-world situations of emails like yours where I go through and say, hey, this is how you apply the book to this situation. So again, what jumps out at me, it doesn't look like you're able to read her interest in you, and it looks like you're mostly focused on how much you like her, and you're concerned about her liking you and accepting you, and you're not even looking at the fact at how much she likes you or how much she's trying to win you over. But the thing that's concerning for me is you're almost 3 months in and you're kind of sneaking into her house at night. You're the one calling her, and other than that, you don't really see her very often. So just from that perspective, it just looks like it's a booty call, not really a real relationship. Because, you know, when I've dated women, I get exclusive with them. We're going to lunch, we're going to dinner on the weekends, they're staying over, and, you know, their kids are always with us. We're a family, and we do things together as a family. But you're 3 months down the road, and you're still sneaking in at night. He says, I also have a past with women in long-term relationships and have also cheated in my past where I have regret and conviction later. So I'm trying to learn not to make the same mistakes ever again. So his father was a liar and a cheater, and he admits that he's basically been guilty of that in his previous relationships. And so we have a girl that's been dicked around and lied and cheated to by the guys she was with. She watched her father abuse the mother. And so now she's dating the guy that wrote the email who has a history of lying and cheating with his exes. So typically once a cheater, always a cheater. So if he's always cheated on everybody he's been with, well, as Gerald Celente of the Trends Research Institute says, current events form future trends. However, it's possible that if he's really seriously committed to it, that he'll be loyal and faithful to her. But again, we don't really know because his history is he's not capable of it until he is. Maybe he's ready to grow up and he'll never do that again. But the odds of him changing are statistically not in his favor. It is possible, but the chances are very slim. I grew up in a family of women myself with my amazing Christian nan and mom raising me with the little they had for themselves, but always put me first and poured out their cup to fill mine. I had an amazing childhood with great memories of mom hosting Christmas and Halloween parties for my friends and family. In fact, I was spoiled rotten as a child and as a man, and am ever so grateful for the child that my mom gave me. So again, the baseline fundamentals is like what you do to get her is what you do to keep her. Hang out, have fun, hook up. Long-term relationships go well when you're with somebody who's easygoing, easy to get along with, and who's nice to you. And she communicates like an adult. typically women that love their dads and respect their dads are pretty easy and effortless to be with. So the question is she nice to you? Does she communicate like an adult? Is she a hothead? Again, if you're just sneaking it at night a couple times a week for a booty call, it's not really a real relationship. You're not really spending much time with her. You're just sexually exclusive. Are you going out on dates and doing fun things together or doing for the weekend? Well, probably not. If she's got an alcoholic mom that kind of sounds like she does a half-assed job of watching her grandchild. I mean, how are you going to go away for the weekend to a bed and breakfast just you and her? If the alcoholic mother just decides that she's ready to pass out and, calling her daughter and saying, hey, you need to come home and get your kid because I'm ready to pass out, or she's drunk or whatever. So it just doesn't sound like she's got a stable house. And again, it doesn't really sound like he's in kind of a real relationship. That's why you need to read the book, because it doesn't look like you've actually read the book. You probably cherry-picked enough from the videos to be getting laid, but you're ignoring the fact that it looks like, based on what you said, maybe I'm wrong, maybe you left it out, but what you wrote in here was that you're calling to her after she gets home from work, and once the kid's in bed, then you're allowed to come over, hook up, but then you got to dip out so the kid doesn't see you. So if that's all you're doing, then it's a booty call. And I personally wouldn't have committed if that's all the time that she can give you. I would have just been like, hey, well, when you're available, we can be a booty call. Hit me up when you're in town, and we'll get together. And then you treat it as such. But the fact that you're exclusive and she's still hiding the kid from you tells me that that's what happens when you over-pursue. That tells me from her actions that even though you're exclusive with her, she hasn't really committed to you. She's keeping you at arm's length. And again, quite frankly, just treating you like a booty call that she's sexually exclusive with. So if you guys are raw dogging it, she doesn't have to worry about getting the gift that keeps on giving. So again, the basics of how to have an easy and effortless relationship. Typically, in most cases, you want a girl who loves her dad. She was raised properly and still a good sense of goals and values in her. She's got to be easygoing, easy to get along with. And she's got to communicate like an adult. No passive-aggressive behavior. She's got to be nice to you, most importantly. Was she raised right? If you butt heads on things, are you able to talk it out? So, again, you got to learn the baseline fundamentals of what's in the book. There's no shortcuts to success. So put the time in with it, because it just looks like you learned enough of the pickup and seduction material from the videos to get into this situationship. But when it comes to a real relationship and dating and courting her properly, it doesn't seem like you know any of that stuff. And plus, it doesn't look like you can read her interest. You're just mostly focused on how much you like her and how much you can be a good guy for her. It's like, what is she doing to be a good girlfriend to you, other than sneaking you in at night for a quick booty call? Something to think about, dude. So if you got a question or challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the coaching tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and book a coaching session with yours truly. If you haven't already signed up for our exclusive premium members-only content, in the video description of this video, there are links to join on YouTube, or you can join on Spotify or our website, understandingrelationships.com. Click the plans tab when you get there, and you can do a 7-day free trial on our website to check out all the great content you get for your money. And if you choose an annual plan, you can get a 25% discount at the end of the 7-day free trial. So go to understandingrelationships.com, click the plans tab when you get there, sign up for a premium membership trial today, and until next time, I will talk to you soon.